Hi, so this video is on DMT and what I will call the Dango effect. There's this YouTube channel, I think called Dango Thoughts or something, and he discovered that when he does DMT and he shines laser at a wall, the laser reveals a language on the material. Right, and so it does. He's shown it to hundreds of people, and everyone sees it. And it's like where the laser is. The laser reveals this code, and the code looks kind of like Sanskrit or one of those ancient languages, right? Which is interesting. And so it seems like it doesn't seem like it's a mental phenomenon. It's like the laser is there, and the characters are solid, and it's just there, right? And so this Dango effect is very cool. It's not a big deal. It is kind of a big deal. It's a cool thing. It's a really cool way of accomplishing something. But what it is that your nervous system, it's visual, right? So we're doing visual. So what's happening when you see an object, right? When you see an object, the eyes are emitting a certain frequency of action potentials into your nervous system. Action potentials are the neural code. So when the nerves send a message, that's called an action potential, a neural impulse or whatever. And it almost does kind of a Morse code. It sends these action potentials at a particular frequency based off of how the photoreceptors on the eye are being stimulated by light. And so if you're seeing green on this side of the eye, it sends a different nerve signal than if you're seeing blue on that side of the eye. And all these neural impulses, they get shot into the brain through the optic nerve, and then that gives rise to vision, that gives rise to sight. So what happens is that normally this neural code is automatically read into a perception. You see the code and you automatically read that code into perception. Just the way that when you look at a newspaper, or when you look at a book, or when you look at texts, you don't see the letters, you see the words, and it's nearly reflexive. And so with the DMT and the light, the nervous system, the reason that you see objects with a certain amount of permanence is because there's basically, you could consider your entire body like a page or a page, and then on that page, your sense organs are creating what are essentially standing waves. And so the rhythm or whatever, the neural impulses interact. They create standing waves in the metabolic system of the body. It's the sight and everything isn't happening in like necessarily a particular location, but the standing wave is on basically the cell, all of your cell membranes. What's going on? All of your cell membranes are capacitive like layers, bubble layers, and so they can absorb electromagnetic waves. Every single cell in the body has an electromagnetic shell, an electromagnetic surface, and that shell, when a neural impulse goes by, it causes a disturbance and it sends a wave. It sends a wave through all the membranes of the body, all the electrical membranes. And so as you get these nerves impulses going off at a particular frequency, it creates standing waves. And so those standing waves are little, like, basically electromagnetic events that's what gets turned into a perception. It's reading. So when you do the DMT and you shine the light, that combination actually interferes with your ability to read your neural impulses. But it doesn't interfere with your ability to see the neural impulses. You just can't read it. And so when you do that, you end up seeing the letters or the language of the nervous system. And that's why it seems like a very ancient language, because those languages were based off of this. This is the original language. The neural impulses that give rise to perception, that is the original language. That's the deepest language. That's the language that gives rise to creation. And so the Dango effect is an interesting way of interfering, or it breaks the trance. Most people are in a trance where they're automatically reading their nervous system. That's the sleep state, or that's being unconscious. And so when you realize that you're reading, when you realize that there is an activity going, the thing that creates this world is identical to the thing that creates the world of Harry Potter. It's not to say that your nervous system is lying to you, right? Your nervous system is telling you the truth, but it is telling you the truth, and you are reading that truth. And then as you read it, that's what causes the world to come into being. It's this reading effect. And so when people are like, "Oh, we live in a simulation" and stuff like that, and it's kind of you're living in a story told by God, is what it is, and it's a true story. Your nervous system is telling you a true story, but you're having to read it, and it's multidimensional, so it's kind of dependent on like what aspects are you reading, which parts are you focusing on, what's your emphasis, right? So there's a lot of that going on, but fundamentally there is code there is objective language there, like there is an objective truth, and then that objective truth has to be read into existence. And so when that's why the light, where it's like interfering, like if you shine this light on the wall, normally there's code that says the wall is there, it's this in space and this in time and this location and this, and all that is written. All the qualities of the wall are written in the nervous system language. And so the light, the laser, makes it so you can't read that, and so you just see the letters. You see the letters, but you don't read it into words. You don't read it into perception. So the Dango effect is this very interesting thing of like to where you can break the reading ability, you break the mesmerization. That's why people think this stuff is like waking up, because they're reading automatically. They don't know they're reading, so it's like that's why it seems like a dream. Once you're reading your nervous system consciously, you're kind of awake, right? It's not that you're not awake, because how would you be reading something if you weren't awake? But you're reading nervous system. That's why the sense world is said to be an illusion, or it's not an illusion any more than a book is an illusion. The reason people think the sense world is a matrix or an illusion is because you somehow get into this bizarre trance state where you don't know you're reading. If you know that you're reading a book, it's like when you're reading a true book. Are you in a trance state if you know that you're reading? Like, no. So are you in a matrix when you read a book? No. All that stuff is like this bizarre madness. So it's funny to watch this Dango guy and his community and stuff be like utterly kind of befuddled, or think that they've discovered something new, or anything like that. You know, it's just this reading of the thing that I find more interesting is how you do the DMT and do the laser, and it breaks the reading, and they're having these moments of like lucidity, but because it's being done with drugs, it's almost like the story, because they did it with something in the nervous system, the story has gone meta to now their nervous system has the perception of a person reading the book. It's like the book is now writing about itself, is what happens with psychedelics and the Dango effect. Like the book is now you're reading about yourself waking up. Right, which is why psychedelics and stuff can sometimes, if you're in a trance state, you can get more trapped in the matrix, which I think he's doing, and all these other people. He's like, because it's like a book, and now in the book you're writing and reading about awakening. It's like you want to wake up or you want to break the trance state, but now the psychedelics have made it such that the book has a story about you awakening in the book, which I don't know if that increases or decreases the trance state, but it's just fascinating. Like, this is psychedelics and techniques like this make a meta story. Like they yeah, I don't know. That's just what's going on. I don't know. I thought I'd throw that out there because it's just funny. It's funny watching them, I don't know, stumble around trying to figure out what's going on. And I'd call it the Dango effect. It's a cool name, Dango. The Dango effect. And it's these techniques of meta analytical writing of the nervous system. Like how to break the fourth wall in a book. Like, you can break the fourth wall in a book, but it's still the book. It's just a literary device, you know? Whoa, spinning out.